Welcome everybody, it's Dave Isaacs here at the Guitar Studio here in Nashville, Tennessee. And I've started calling this place the Studio Under the Stairs, which if you were here looking out the window as I am, you would see what I'm talking about. But I love this place. I've been in here since September, and it's a wonderful space. I'm in a shared building called Indo Nashville, which is full of creative people. And it's in a thriving neighborhood, and it's real exciting to be here. So in any case, welcome. And I want to do a quick lesson on improv today. And one of the things I hear from people all the time is that when they're trying to learn how to solo, they start off by learning scales. And a lot of people will ask, well, should I even bother to learn scales? And I think they're useful. I think they're useful, number one, just for training your fingers, for mapping out the neck. But ultimately, if you focus too much on the scales, then you're going to get stuck in those fingerings. And so what you really have to think about is finding musical phrases within the areas that the scales map out. So I'm going to start off working with a simple minor pentatonic in the key of A. This is probably familiar to many of you if you've studied any lead guitar at all. I'm in the 5th position and the scale goes like this. 5, 8, 5, 7, 5, 7, 5, 7, 5, 8, 5, 8. And the thing is, as you learn these scale forms, you want to be aware of what's going on musically there. So if I end on fret 8, I'm not ending on the root, and so therefore we don't really complete the musical thought, or at least we don't hear the full cycle of the scale. So this note is important because it's something we can reach and something that we can use, but you want to be aware that in order to complete the scale itself, to complete the musical idea, that's our root note, that's home. And that note's available to us. But as we're thinking about mapping the neck, you want to know that if we're in the key of A, the A's are here, 6th string, fret 5, 4th string, fret 7, and 1st string, fret 5. Listen to the cycle. And then we start the cycle over again, but we do have to move up to get up to the rest of the scale. Now just to map that out for you, that's 5, 8, 10, 12, 15, 17. But we're not going to go all the way up there just yet. I do want to introduce an extension that some of you may also know, and that's here in the 7th position. I'm starting from this A, so recognize that we've already identified this note. So if I slide up this time, I'm in position to start from here and play 7, 10, 7, 9, 8, 10, and then I can reach 8, 10, 12. That's all we're going to work with right now. So once again, to walk through this. 5, 8, 5, 7, 5, 7, 5, 7, 5, 8, 5, 8, 5. Now walking down, 5, 8, 5, 7, 5, 7, 5, and glide to 7. And now in the 7th position, I can reach 7, 10, 7, 9, 8. Notice the shift, 10. And the extension, 8, 10, glide to 12. So these are boxes, they are forms, but the thing is, we want to work within those and find musical phrases. So this is ultimately about phrasing. So the way we're going to do that is by playing short groups of notes, little rhythmic patterns that don't move around too much, and using the technique of call and response to play a short musical idea, a short phrase, and then answer it with another. So it's really helpful to take the scale and actually sort of divide it up mentally into different segments. For example, just on the 4th and 3rd strings, just on the second and first. In this position, 8 and 10. That was the second and first strings. Or so what I'm going to do is put on a backing track and then illustrate how I can use these small segments of the scale to play question and answer, call and response. And I'm going to start off using more or less the same rhythmic ideas, and then they'll develop as I go. So check it out. Now you may have noticed that I was using a few different techniques here. I'm using hammer-ons, finger on the string and then slapping another finger down on the same string, letting the movement create the force, not so much really pushing, but just landing. A little vibrato coming from the hand and arm, not so much from the fingers. Slides. And bends. Just like with vibrato, a lot of the energy is coming from the arm and hand, so there's a little rotation of the wrist. Pull-offs as well, opposite of a hammer-on. 2 fingers on the string, and think of the pull-off as a left-hand pluck more than a pull-off. You're not going to lift, but literally pull down, sort of snap the string. Now, these are all details that are worth exploring in lessons all their own. You might be familiar with some of these things. They add a lot of flavor and interest, and that's something I will delve into in a subsequent lesson. Now, musically speaking, I was making use of call and response, question and answer. 2, 3. Sometimes repeating the rhythmic figures, sometimes repeating them with a little bit of variation, sometimes using repetition as a device all its own. That can be very effective also. So there's all kinds of different musical concepts that are coming into play here. So I want to do one more of these and watch for the use of call and response, watch for the use of repetition, watch for the use of small variations and larger variations, and also the way that the different articulations, hammer-ons, pull-offs, vibrato, and bending add flavor. Check it out. Now, obviously, there's a lot to play with there. Pick these apart a little bit. See if you can figure out these licks. You can see what I'm doing and hear what I'm doing. It's worth your time to try to sit down and see if you can grab it yourself. Learning how to listen and imitate is one of the most important skills a guitarist can develop. It is how you develop your vocabulary. And then ultimately, what starts to happen is you learn how to put those things together yourself in your own way. Experiment on your own. I've got the backing track linked in the video description. Try to make use of some of these techniques yourself. Call and response, repetition, small variation, large variation, and breaking up the scales into small segments so you can really think rhythmically and musically, use the articulations to make things interesting. Like I said before, there's a lot here, but it's also very simple if you break things down just to the fundamentals. So no matter what your level of skill is as a player, you should be able to get something out of this. I hope you have fun with this one. I'm Dave Isaacs. Thanks for watching.